Okay.
Cool. Okay, welcome back. How'd it go?
Better than I expected.
Better than you expected?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, this is like the first time I actually I talked to friends and family about it, here and there, but really made multiple calls at the same time. Results are, I got two people really interested. One of them is coming back. Sorry.
Okay. He's like, hold on. Okay, tell me how it went for you guys.
Made 5 calls, left 4 messages. My last call actually, let's see. So basically, I told her about the app.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to
Segue into it.
or I don't know how to send it to her or.
Oh, how to share it? Do you have your
Do you
app?
have it on your phone?
No, I don't. So I told her I'll be in touch within a couple of hours once
Perfect.
I start to learn this.
So you can actually just download it from the App Store and then you sign in yourself. I just found this after we had that conversation.
Oh, okay.
So you sign into the App Store and you just download the Red KW app, so it's just red. And then once
Okay.
you have it, you can actually find your agent and you find yourself, put yourself on your app as the agent. And then when you share it, and keep in mind when we talked about sharing the app, your app is the same that you're looking at is the same that consumer has. So you know how you have the share app button at the bottom?
So they have that too.
They have it too, so
Going
they
back
can do
to
it as
that
well.
They can share.
Yeah.
But it's branded to you.
It's
Correct.
branded to me, right?
Yep.
You have to set it up branded to you and
Yeah.
activate it.
See how my
because-
name
because then
actually
she was
says-
Like, yeah, I actually know someone who wants to buy a home.
Mhm.
He just won $96,000 in Vegas, and he wants to buy a fixer-upper,
Great.
right? And so, okay, great, I can forward you this app, and he doesn't even have to contact me. I mean, how does that work? He doesn't have to
Yeah, I would still offer to follow up.
with her, right? I said I would follow up with you by Monday if I don't see how the conversation goes.
Perfect. And then on Monday, ask her, say, hey, are you comfortable with me contacting him? Because I'd like to be of service to
Okay.
him, let her know. I want to help him
Okay.
with information.
Okay, so again, with this app, I download it from my phone, and then I send that.
Yes. I'm going to show you how to share it. I want to wait for Micah to come
Oh,
back because
okay.
I don't know if he's had the app conversation.
Okay.
So I'll go a little bit into detail with that. So I'm glad the calling went well, but I lost 2 of my members.
That's because they were making calls, so too. It's
I know, this is what happens if
You
you don't
start
call
business,
back,
yeah,
right?
you start business and then
Exactly.
you finish it.
And you know what, technically we have 5 minutes to write notes anyway, so,
Okay.
since it's just Deborah out there and you can share with her, I do wanna go into those details about the app. So Micah, are you familiar with the Keller Williams app?
I heard about it and everything. I
Okay.
haven't really played around with it. I have it downloaded
So,
and everything.
You downloaded it?
Yeah.
Does it have your information in it?
Probably not.
Okay,
Oh, actually it does.
perfect.
your
So if
picture
you
and
go to
everything?
Yeah.
go ahead, Virgilia, go to the
Is
app
it?
store, grab
Yeah,
it.
but does it have your picture and everything?
I didn't upload my picture to it.
But it's got your name on the bottom,
Yeah.
your local agent?
Yes.
There you go, perfect. So that's exactly what you want. So yours should be
I
the
have
same.
mine. I've shared it.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
the way you share this, now remember, this is the same thing a consumer has. You don't have anything different on this app. You just have a version of the consumer app that has you as the agent. So you hit share app on the bottom.
That's not everything.
You can call them back, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you hit the share app button, it'll give you options, text, email, Facebook, and Twitter. I always prefer to text, it's sort of my rhythm, just because I do sharing app a lot at open houses, and I want their phone number. So I'll say, hey, let me share my app with you. So you hit text, and it'll open up your texts with a link, okay? Now what I always get in the tradition of doing is right in the front, typing in aloha and their first name. Because if I'm at open houses and I have multiple people, I want to remember all the names.
So you actually then record the contact here, then you can go back here.
I don't have to record it.
Oh,
Look,
will it go into your contacts after you?
no, I'm just typing in the person's name. So I just sent it, now I can send it to you. So now I'm sending you my app, Terry.
Mhm.
Now when I go back to my texts, it would have a number and I would have a name.
Okay.
So you connected your number with your
Oh.
name. Do you see what I mean? Because it went into my text, it actually opened it. Now, one more trick about that, if you text it to a stranger, their phone will often protect them and go, I don't know what this is, so they won't make it be able to be clickable. I just tell people, put my name in there, like add me as a contact, and then they'll let you open your app.
I see.
Your phone's just trying to protect you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the apps, like, fave.
Well, I sent it to 3 people,
Yay!
and I said it, I
Check it
changed
out.
the thing, said, hey, try this out, let me know what you think.
Yeah, perfect, you can type whatever you want in there.
Yeah, and then sent it, and then it works for rentals too, I noticed, and I have a friend in Kihei that's
Yep.
always looking for rentals, and,
Excellent.
yeah.
We love the app. All right, so we're moving on to handwritten notes. Who brought note cards? Oh, we're moving past handwritten notes. All right, here's the thing about handwritten notes. I know, when's the last time you received mail that was actually addressed to you, written by somebody, and was like a note or a card or something? When's the last time you guys actually got that in the mail? Probably your birthday or Christmas, correct?
Dentist appointment.
A dentist appointment, there you go. Okay, so, perfect example. So birthdays, Christmas, and dentist appointments. And is that about it, you guys? Let's be honest. Yeah?
Probably.
Yeah. So when you receive a handwritten card and it's written out to you, are you kind of, and it's not, let's say it's not your birthday, and you read it and you go, wow, it's not the dentist. Are you kind of surprised? I mean, like it sticks in your brain because it is something so different.
It definitely would stick in my brain. You make a good point there. I'm just anti-big footprint, just using stuff.
What do you mean by big
Just,
footprint?
using paper, like the book bugs me.
Right.
It just seems, I'm into efficient, communicating efficiently, text, that kind of a thing. It doesn't cost money, doesn't create a carbon footprint.
I get that, I
doesn't
get that.
Use planetary resources. But I would remember, and I might think, ooh, I wish they'd just texted.
Well,
but I would remember them.
And the other thing that I like to do is, here's the thing, I know a lot of people are stepping away from cards, and I personally am stepping away a little bit from cards. I don't even have them at my open houses, I don't print flyers. It's just kind of the way I do it, because I'd rather have people have a flyer for every app, or for every house, not just this one. So I said, give them my app, right? It's easy, it's convenient. That being said, some older people like business cards. They really do. So I always send them, I say, hey, I want to cut, that's a good way to get also, now that we have landing pages, it's a good way to get their mailing address. So I say, I'm going to send you a couple of my business cards, because especially when you guys are new in the business, it's like, hey, I'm new in the business, I want you to have my business cards. I'm excited, right? This is fun. Can I get your mailing address? They'll give it to you. If they own, that's going to give them that landing page option in our new command, which will actually keep them informed of what's going on in their neighborhood as far as pricing and such. So then they don't have to contact you saying, hey, give me that CMA that we're going to go through today, right? They're going to know because you're giving it to them in a virtual way without having to print paper. So it's pretty awesome to get people's mailing addresses, especially if they're owners. So that's a really convenient way to do that. And I do think it leaves an impression that's really nice, especially if it's a handwritten note that's an actual note about something that you had a conversation. Make sense? Any questions? Okay. We're on page 10. Get your head in the game. Okay. So, pricing has a large mindset component both for you and your seller. All right. I know your printing is small, but you guys are going to read because otherwise my voice will be shot by the end of the day. All right, so we're going to start in the back. Virgilio, would you begin reading page 10 for me?
Get your head in the game. Helping sellers determine the correct price for their property is part of the value you bring to them. Pricing can be easy with a properly prepared comparative market analysis, CMA. Presenting your CMA and discussing pricing with the seller are the two major components of the listing appointment. You've already learned the dominant role your mindset plays in success in real estate sales. It's the same with your seller. Truth. Pricing has a large mindset component, both for you and your seller. Pricing is a process. Learning to do it well also requires knowing pricing strategies based on the principles that drive markets. It also requires knowing pricing tactics, building and presenting a comparative market analysis, and the scripts that go with it. You will use your knowledge and expertise in pricing and presentation to win the seller's agreement on the list price, the price that will get their home sold.
Yes. So, are we in charge of what the house will sell for?
No,
No.
the
You
buyer
were
is.
watching the video. The buyer is, the market is, right? The market really does determine the price. So it's very interesting when you're dealing with, I mean, it is a lot to do with how people think, right? So how do you get into the mind of your seller a little bit? What's the best way? Guys, give me some ideas.
You can ask if, you know, what their motivation is, so you know what their timing, if it's more urgent or not, if they're just waiting for a particular number. You know, maybe
Agreed.
they have more time and they're gonna push, you know, push for more top dollar. What they owe on it, what they need to net.
Okay. All right, anything else? Any other input on how you can get into the mindset of your,
You can ask them what they were thinking in terms
Seller.
of price.
definitely. What else?
Maybe like what they're looking to reinvest in after they sell their house.
That's a good question. I'm seeing a trend. Is anybody else seeing a trend?
Asking them
Starts with
questions.
Q? Yes. Questions, right? I can't get into your mindset unless I ask you questions, unless I find out what your motivation or your, right, all the answers to all of those questions, unless I ask you the questions. So, very interesting. I was challenged once to do an entire listing presentation by only asking questions. You were never allowed to say anything, that everything had to be posed as a question. I thought that was really interesting. I have yet to do it, and I think it would be quite the challenge, but it really flips your mindset about how you do things. So I'm really big on asking people questions, because you can go in and think you're in the right direction, and if you have an S personality, they're going, and then at the end you're going, here's where you sign, and they go, nope. Because they were just agreeing with you, because they want you know, they want a good relationship. You didn't convince them of anything, because you didn't get any information from them, right? So you have to find out what they want. So questions, huge. All right, page 11. Micah, will you read page 11 for us?
Sure. Make it happen. Make it happen. Pricing. Pricing is one of the absolutely essential real estate success skills. To become a pricing master, you must understand 1. How markets work. 2. Local market conditions. 3. Pricing criteria. 1. How markets work. 2 principles about markets and value provide a great foundation of pricing any real estate. Market dynamics. Markets operate on the law of supply and demand. When supply is high and demand is down, prices fall. When supply is low and demand is up, prices increase. Determination of value. Value is established based on an agreement between a willing seller and a willing buyer. The tug of war is always between what the seller wants and what the buyer is willing to pay.
Yes. So do you guys know what your current supply is in the market right now?
1 month,
Do you know how many houses are listed on the market right now?
240.
And you know how many condos are listed on the market? How did you find that information?
The, top right when you open Paragon.
There you go. Did you guys hear that? So let me ask you a question. This goes into a little bit of numbers, right? If you were to go to, let's say, Jeff Bezos is Amazon, right? If you were to walk into Jeff's office and be like, how much did you sell in the last month? Do you think he could tell you?
Probably.
Yeah? What's your conversion rate to people that enter your website? How many buy, how many don't? How many come back? How many new people do you have on your site? You think that guy knows all those numbers literally on the top of his head?
Yes.
Yes.
See, I do think he does. Because that's his business, is to know his statistics. And when you're running a business, you gotta know your numbers. And for you guys right now, you don't have, you don't know your conversion rates and those kind of things yet, because you haven't started your career yet, right? So you don't know how many calls do I have to make to actually sell a place? Right? You can't answer that question yet because you don't have the history for it. But what you can answer is the questions that people will ask you when they want to know what you know about the market, right? What's the best deal right now? Do you know the best deal?
The best deal
Yeah.
in like single family?
It's the best deal on the market right now.
Probably condos. Is that?
I mean a specific, can you literally say, by the way, the best deal in the market is blah, blah, blah street in
Well, it
this
depends
town.
on, it's such a
Yes.
subjective thing.
Of course it is, but if you're an expert on the market,
The best
with
deal for
your-
who?
with your expertise, you need to know deals out there. So if your expertise, let's say for you it's upcountry, okay, so what's the best house I can buy right now in upcountry for my dollars? You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to fit everybody, but the problem is I think a lot of people come into that approach with like, let me find out what you want and need and blah, 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 and then I'll go get the information. Well, if I don't have the information, am I really doing my job? Like, I need to come in with the information, and then you're gonna trust me as an expert and tell me what you need, right? So you gotta know your market stats. Also, when it comes to doing comparative market analysis and recommending prices, the more you know, the more comfortable they are. Does that make sense? Awesome. Turn page. And Deborah, will you read to us local market conditions?
Local market conditions. To price accurately and price to sell, you must constantly study the conditions in your local market and in the specific neighborhoods where you want to specialize. Here are some basic factors to watch. Inventory. How much is for sale, and is inventory rising or falling? Days on market. How long is it taking properties to sell? Price per square foot. A good comparative indicator of prices when a group of properties has common qualities and features. Changes in the local landscape. Monitor changes in major employers, shopping, schools, other services in the community, and changes in local laws that impact housing.
Do you guys get the importance of those? Does that make sense? Do you guys understand what those are? Right, knowing the inventory, knowing the days on market, knowing the price per square foot, that's really beneficial in houses. It's really beneficial in like newer construction homes where they're the cookie cutters, right?
Right.
That's where it's a little more valuable, and the changes in the local landscape. Yeah, I mean, if you're working North Kihei, you need to know what they're doing at that development in North Kihei, like what's going on there, why are they tearing that land up, what's happening, and how's that gonna affect the prices, right? This is information you need to have. So, are all of you working yet with a title rep? Like, do you have somebody that you've had a conversation with?
Almost.
Just Mercy?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I recommend you guys do that, and one of the reasons is because they produce stats, really pretty stats. And they put them out, and you get to see like what's the statistics and what's going on in the area, and it's a really nice snapshot. And what's great is if you have a buyer and you show it to them and they start really looking at those details, you're dealing with a C personality, you're dealing with that engineer, that person who wants to like know the details. So, good info to have. All right, pricing criteria, number 3. Terry, you're up.
Getting the facts about pricing means elevating and, evaluating and giving property, a given property against other comparable properties. This means comparing your client's 20-year-old 3-bedroom, 2-bath property in a neighborhood of similarly built homes with homes that sold recently that match or come very close to matching the particulars of their home. The following factors come into play when looking for comparable properties: location, size, amenities, and condition.
Yes. So do we understand location, size, amenities, and condition? Any clarification needed on that? No. You can do the bell if you want. Then she'll come out.
Do you have, like we were working on a CMA yesterday, and, when you go to make the adjustments, we watched a video of, a guy like $2,500, he made an adjustment for a bathroom in Boise.
Right.
Do we have some sort of figures like that? Like what are these things, what's the value of these things?
They do fluctuate, but you can always reach out and I have a contractor, so we call the contractor, and like if I'm comparing to, something that needs to be built, what's the cost per square foot in that area, what is the bachelor's cost in that one, you can do it that way.
Like, is there like a number for a pool? Like if your property has a pool, but the others.
A lot of it depends, because when you're talking about a pool, you're talking about a very big range, but it's also on resale, a pool is not gonna get 100% to what it costs. So it's a little bit tricky, you just have to kind of look at comparisons of what's sold with pools and what's sold without pools. Pools are interesting.
Yeah, because they can be like a legit too.
Yeah, it's a dynamic, right? Because some people are like, any place that does not have a pool, and then, you know, so it can, or some people are like, I can take it or leave it. Yeah.
And do you adjust your CNAs? Do you do those adjustments?
Not that closely usually.
Okay.
I
you
just, you know, it's a range, you're gonna go in with a range pretty
Yeah.
much anyway, so,
Okay.
yeah. So it doesn't have to be that detailed.
Got it.
All right, so, market statistics. We're on page 13. All right, Virgilia, we're going back to you. You're reading this one.
What are current local market statistics in your target areas?
All right. What's
Days
the
on
current-
market?
You guys know what the current days on market is?
About 60, 40, about 45?
For condos, for houses,
I
for
do.
what,
I do.
right? Okay, so if you have your computer, let me ask you this, what area do you want to be your focus?
Cool.
Do you know what your area of focus is gonna be? Where do you think you're probably gonna focus your business, Virgilia?
Lahaina.
Lahaina? Okay, perfect, houses or condos?
Condos.
Okay, condos in Lahaina, okay.
This is just a little family.
Condos Lahaina. Now, keep in mind, when I say where are you gonna focus, it doesn't mean you can't sell anything else. I mean, I focus on Kihei condos and I've got a listing coming up in Wailuku and, you know, it doesn't mean you can't do other things, it's just be an expert in one thing and people will trust you to learn what you need to be an expert in their thing. Does that make sense? Be an expert in one thing and people will trust you to be an expert in their thing. That's just how it works. Okay. Micah, where are you gonna focus?
Probably more town.
Town side?
Kahului.
Kahului, okay. So Kahului houses. And ladies, I know we're upcountry, which is houses, and you may be like a specific, you know. All right, so does everybody know how to do that search?
No,
Okay,
in our area? No.
Yeah, I just have to redouble.
all right, so we're gonna go into InfoSparks. You guys familiar with InfoSparks? Love InfoSparks. Okay, so pull up InfoSparks.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Keone said at the last one that he's not such a big fan of InfoSparks
That
because
just-
it's a marketing platform and not really related to. But you're okay. with it?
Everybody does things differently.
Okay.
I like it because it gives me good snapshots.
Mhm.
It's just totally depends on who you're talking to. It's like anything else. Like some of you have Macs and some of you have that other computer or whatever other brand there is. I guess we know what you use. Like I just, you know, some of you have iPhones and some of you have something else. Like it's a preference. Everything's a preference. So you
Okay.
just have to
But you
decide
feel like
what
it's
you
accurate.
like.
He just felt like it was less than accurate. That's what I was speaking to, not.
I feel like it's pretty close.
Okay,
so,
got it.
You know, all right, so we're saying, okay,
So
so
add an area.
we're gonna do Lahaina.
Did you go to add an area? Is
Yep,
that-
I went to the second one and I typed in Lahaina.
I would just the enter MLS and type.
See where it says entire MLS?
Yeah.
The one to the right of it is
Oh,
another
okay.
area. So you can do Lahaina. You can actually do, I think you can do West.
You drop,
I'm gonna do-
drop down.
No, do the complexes, so we do Lahaina, okay.
Okay,
We'll do Lahaina area
and we're going to.
and we're gonna do condos.
We can actually do, because there's no condos.
See that, Virgilia? So there's some stats. So you've got median and average sale price. You're on a rolling 12 months. So you're actually looking at the median for the last 12 months. That's the Lahaina area. This is the entire MLS down here. And then you got new listings, homes for sale, pending sales. Like you can see days on market, what's the average days on market? So for the rolling 12 months, it's averaging 127 days for the last 12 months. Now, if we don't wanna roll, we can go monthly. And we can say, okay, it was 108 days as of last month. So you can get stats on here. I don't really care what you use for stats. I use InfoSparks because it's easy and it's in the Paragon. If you find something better, what did Keone say he liked for stats?
Let's see, I think it was it Fidelity stuff, or, is that what he said?
I
he
love
liked for
Fidelity
stats?
stuff too, yeah.
Yeah, I think or MLS, it was definitely things that were tied to the MLS.
Well, Fidelity is tied to the MLS,
Right.
so Fidelity's stats
opposed
are
to-
awesome.
Okay.
Here, so, just to give you an example.
Same.
No, it's the same.
Have you guys seen has anybody seen the Fidelity stats? You guys have not seen those? Okay.
This is entire energy.
Sure.
This is clean for price.
Okay. No, you
What
want
does
to
it
just
have
do it this
to
way.
say the days on
Because I
market?
want to save time.
Let's see, you can add those layers in. 10 years square foot, I think over here with this little arrows. And add more stuff. Where's the days on?
Okay, so August stats, days on markets is on the
Oh,
bottom.
here it is.
Okay,
Got it.
so this is your Fidelity stats. So in August, year date, because that would have come out in September, and then September's will come out sometimes this month, but this gives you a breakdown by all different things. You got how many condos sold, and mind you, what they're doing is a year to date, okay? So it's a year to date, yeah, break it down by homes, condos, and land. That's for the entire island, okay? Homes, condos, and land. Here's what percentage is selling for what area. So what's the number one area? Right, south. Second is west. Just gives you an idea of what, obviously when you're doing condos, it's a little more of a turn. Okay, so let's look at that, residential. So total number of sales, up or down?
Down.
Okay. Total dollar volume, up or down?
Up.
Total dollar volume,
Oh, sorry, down.
right, that's okay.
It went next
The
one.
median sale price is up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, back down to condos now. Same trend, total number of sales, down. Median again up, total dollar volume, down. Now, let's look at this for a second and think about this. So if this is the trend, does that mean that our market is shifting, or does that mean we just have a really tight market?
Like low inventory.
Right.
It's a combination of both.
How do you know which it is? And this is not a trick question, it's just the art of our business. How do we know if that, because we're down in number of sales by 6% in condos. Here's my question for you. Is it because we don't have enough condos to sell the buyers that want condos? So how do we know whether it's one way or another? And this is where the art of real estate comes in. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you the answer, and then I'm gonna tell you how I know. Okay? So I'm gonna give you a little trick. Oh, and it goes on. There's a ton of stuff in here. They break it down by each area like this.
And where do we get that?
Fidelity emails it to you.
Oh, okay.
This is my favorite one to post on social media. I screenshot this and email it to in my newsletter. That's how I adjust my newsletter, is to do local as well as, and then it goes into the Harp to FERC and all that fun stuff. But that is fabulous statistic. Okay, so how do we know if our market right now is shifting or not? So there's one key indicator that is really showing up that convinced me that we are seeing a shift in our market. And that's the fact that I get probably 15 emails a day from other agents with price reductions.
That's, yeah.
So Maui's a very interesting market because we are a small market, right? So it can be that our market is just shrinking, and so we don't have enough for buyers, so our numbers start shrinking. But all these properties that are listed, they're reducing prices. So once we start to see the prices change, we know we're heading into a shift. You have a question?
I think that the element of reaching a ceiling has something to do with it too, because they've been pushing the ceiling now for a year.
Well,
Or-
everywhere has,
Okay.
everywhere has, and Maui does tend to trend behind the mainland about 6 months.
Mhm.
And if you'd had the same conversation 3 months ago, the reality is Oahu was already seeing more inventory, not as many sales. Mainland was definitely seeing it. We were still holding out 3 months ago. But I think we've probably seen somewhere near our peak. So who should be getting that information from you?
Sellers,
Yeah, so if you want, what was it, if you were at the team meeting last month, or this month, last month, I can't remember this, Lisa said, you reach out to your sellers and go, if you want the prices that are out there now, you gotta list now, unless you wanna hold it for another 7 to 10 years to get that price, because that's a general curve. Now, do we know what that's gonna look like? That's the thing, like, is it gonna go like that, is it gonna be like, you know, we don't know what that's gonna look like. That's the crystal ball conversation. I can't tell you that. All I can do is tell you what I study the market and find. Make sense to you guys? Awesome. Okay. So, knowing your days on market, your average price per square foot, and how many homes are on the market now in your area is important. We all have computers, except for Virgilio. So, find it, fill it in. Here, I'll sign you into my. You know your way around Paragon, yes? A little bit? Okay.
Oh, wait, our
There we
area.
go in there. I'll just search it right here.
I'm gonna add,
And the one you wanna specialize in, pull up your numbers.